Hello Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about how to impress a guy on a first date. If you are new to my channel, here we talk about classic living and traditional values, and I would love if you would consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. If you'd like access to a ton of exclusive content, including my book club, my AV club, Zoom girl chats, exclusive weekly articles, and much more, head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. In today's video, I want to talk about how you can impress a guy on a first date. How you can make a guy want to go out with you again, how you can make him want to date you for the long term, like want a relationship, want something that might turn into marriage. I want to talk about how you can make that guy want to wife you. Is that a phrase? I feel like that's a phrase. But I've got some tips for you on how to make the best first impression on a first date. So let's just get right into it. Okay, number one is look good. Yeah, I know it's obvious, but is it obvious nowadays? Nowadays, you can't tell a woman that she should try to look her best because isn't that offensive? Doesn't she look her best whenever she does anything? Why are you even trying to tell her to improve? You're rude. Isn't she just perfect the way she is? Well, here's the truth of it. Putting in effort into your appearance is nice. It's important. It makes you feel better. It's good for your health. So doing things that'll make you look good on a first date is the first thing you can do to make a good first impression. Men are very visual, right? I've said that on my channel before and people hated it, but it's true. Men are very visual. So the first impression you make is going to be the way that you look. And doing your hair nicely and putting on a little bit of makeup, wearing a pretty dress, living healthily so you have a healthy body, wearing things that are flattering but not attracting. That is going to make a very good first impression. So take the time to actually look nice. Now, you don't have to take 2 hours. I know that there is this impulse to want to like really get duded up for dates. You don't have to do that too far. And I have videos on my channel on how to make yourself look beautiful for a first date, but doesn't have you going over the top. So just in brief, do something with your hair that looks nice. If that means that you want to curl it or straighten it, you can do that, but you don't have to. If you like your natural texture, great. Just put in some oil or something to make it look really pretty, to make it look really soft and lustrous, or pin back the sides just to make it look really lovely. Like, make it look like you brushed it. Make it look like you took care of it. So that's number one. With your makeup, you want to do something that's natural, but that just accentuates your natural beauty. You don't want to be wearing something crazy, a blue peacock eye. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something that makes you just look a little bit elevated. Maybe some mascara, some eyebrow gel, some concealer, things that are just going to take the way that you look and make it look that much better. As far as clothes, wear something pretty, feminine, and flattering. Wearing a dress that nips in at the waist and then flows out is always a really good choice, and it's going to be very attractive without putting everything out there. You don't need him to see your cleavage. You don't need him to see your entire leg. You want him to see you for you. And what that means is showing off that you have a nice figure without showing off the figure itself. So wear something flattering but modest. And last but not least, choose a nice pair of shoes. If you have heels that are comfortable to walk in, because you never know if a dinner is going to turn into a walk, you can wear those. I often opted for something that was just a little bit more comfortable. A wedge, a flat, a sandal, something that was pretty but not going to inhibit my walking, so that if we wanted to go for a walk after dinner, if things were going well, I could and I didn't have to say, oh, well, my feet are starting to hurt. So that is the first place to start. Look good and you'll make a good first impression. Number two is be a good listener. Everyone likes to be listened to. Not just men. Men and women both like to be listened to. And I think often in an effort to be a good conversationalist, we aren't very good at listening. Something I learned over my dating career was how important it was for me not to get anxious about what I had to say next, but instead to just be in the moment and allow the conversation to flow naturally. I always wanted to make sure that everything was gonna go right, and I always wanted to make sure I knew what I was gonna say next, which really meant I wasn't listening to the person across from me at all. If I just took a deep breath and said, if there's an awkward silence, it's okay, I don't have to be the one to fill it, then it also gave the person across the table for me the opportunity to actually just talk and for me to just listen. And then maybe that conversation was more natural than me trying to force it. So being a good listener is really a great way to make a first impression because you're showing that you care about what he has to say. And it also means that you're not going to leave that date exhausted and feeling like you just expended a ton of energy. Rather, you were there enjoying his company, hearing what he had to say, and seeing if you guys made a good fit. It's a much more relaxed approach to dating, and it will make a great first impression. Number 3 is the flip side. Make good conversation. So what that means is be interesting. Talk about the things that you find interesting in your life. Talk about the things that you have studied or learned or are doing. Talk about things that are of note. Be up to date on what's going on in the news, or be up to date on what movies have come out. Be an interesting person, and then you'll be a good conversationalist. If that means that you're talking about your work because you don't have much time for other things, that's okay too. Take an interest in what he's saying and respond. Get good at the kind of light conversation that makes people feel comfortable. Now, this is different than that kind of anxiety of never wanting to let there be a silence. This is more about being comfortable making conversation, being comfortable responding to what someone says, or even saying, I don't know, can you tell me more? Just enjoying talking to another person. So if you're not always comfortable talking to someone new, practice. And you'll find that when you actually practice, you will get better at it and you'll make a great first impression on a first date. Number 4 is show that you know your way around a house and around a kitchen. Yes, these are the things that are so attractive in a woman and make men want to date you more. If you show that you like to cook, so many women nowadays take pride in not knowing how to cook. Don't be that woman. Be the woman who talks about how much you love to cook. Be the woman who talks about how you like to organize your home. Be the woman who talks about how much you love to make your house into a home. Show that you have potential to be a wife. Now, I'm not saying that you have to make that a huge topic of conversation, but I'm saying that you should be good at those things before you go out on the date so that when it comes up, you're actually able to say, yes, I like to cook and I like to clean and I would be somebody that would be a pleasure to come home to if you were to get married to me. So what that really comes down to is get good at this stuff. It's important to know how to run a home, even when you're single. It's important to know how to cook, even when you're single. So learn how to do those things. And then when a guy on a first date is asking you or talking to you about that kind of stuff, you're telling the truth. And you actually are showing that you would be a really good partner to have around. And that's really attractive. Men like to hear about a woman who's going to make their house into a home. They like to hear that a woman likes to cook. They like to know that you've got your stuff together, and those are really attractive qualities. Last but not least is have good manners. When you're out on a first date, if you are a mess, if you are chewing with your mouth open and burping and just being gross, like that's gonna make a bad first impression. Now, when I talk about having good manners, I'm not talking about all the etiquette stuff you're gonna see on Instagram. I need to know exactly how to fold my napkin. I need to know exactly which fork to use. I mean, you can learn that stuff. It's nice, I guess, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm talking about basic rules of etiquette. Don't burp at the table or cover your mouth. Eat with your mouth closed. Just be collected at the table. And that shows that you're a nice person to have around. The guy that you're dating will think, oh, I'd love to bring her to a cocktail party with my boss. That would impress him. Oh, I'd love to bring her home to my mom. She would see how wonderful this girl is. Knowing how to present yourself is a great way to make a good first impression, not only on this guy, but just generally. So going to a date, having good manners will make a big difference and will probably impress the guy that you're out on that date with. So those are my 5 tips on how to impress a guy on a first date. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to do so and hit that notification bell. Make sure to head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. And if you're not already following me on social media, it's @classicallyabby, absolutely everywhere. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!